Hi, Terry.
Hi, Sprite.
Whitman.
You here to see your aunt because I think she started a presentation about the importance of apex predators in our ecosystem.
That's ironic, since she helped wipe out an entire species of them.
What species did Cersei help to wipe out?
Deviants. You see this right here? This was a deviant's head.
Well, actually, it's the head of a smilodon, a genus of the extinct Macarodontini subfamily.
Why can't they ever get Thena's likeness right?
It's Athena. Athena.
Just Thena. No A. See that spear she's holding? In real life, it's made of cosmic energy.
Cosmic energy.
She's like family to me.
Really? What's your power then?
I make illusions. The reason humans are at the top of the food chain is because you believe in structures and principles that don't actually exist. Gods, nations, money. All concepts, stories, illusions. And guess who taught them to you? Me.
You do know an awful lot for your age.
I'm older than you think. So I hear you've asked Cersei to move in with you.
Has been discussed.
Cool, listen, there are some things you should know. She's not over her ex-boyfriend. They broke up a century ago. He's hot and he can fly.
Look, I know you don't like us dating. It must be hard growing up without parents. Cersei being all that you have. But I love her. And I promise not to take her away from you.
Well, fine. Go for it then.
What? What is it?
Welcome back, Legends! This is Legends Collide, and today we're diving into an intriguing deleted scene from Marvel's Eternals. Even though the movie has been out for a while now, there's still plenty to unpack and discuss. Marvel has released several deleted scenes since the movie hit Disney, and we've discovered some exciting Easter eggs that shed new light on the film. Let's jump right in. There's a whole bunch of Easter eggs, so if you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get everything. I know there are a lot of questions about what's happening with Kit Harington's Black Knight character next. I will talk about that during the video too, if it wasn't clear. This scene is taking place right after Cersei shows up late to her class at the beginning of the movie to find Dane Whitman's Black Knight character, who's making this big metaphor about the seed of perfection being nestled inside the earth. It is meant to very overtly foreshadow the reveal of Tiamat, the new celestial growing inside the earth and causing all the earthquakes as he gets ready to emerge. Thus, they call it the Emergence in the movie. A celestial is literally bursting from inside the earth, and the whole seed metaphor is all about Erishem, the judge's celestial seeds that he sends to galaxies all over the universe to birth new celestials so that they, in turn, will birth new galaxies themselves, causing the main MCU universe to continue existing. If the Celestials stopped cold turkey and didn't create any more new galaxies, like if they all died right now, as long as you believe what Erishem is saying, some of what he says are lies, the main MCU universe would theoretically begin to slowly die of heat death. It would still take billions of years for that to happen, like all the current existing suns and galaxies that contain life would have to die first. Like our sun in the Soul Galaxy in real life still has about another 10 billion years before we have to worry about the universe dying. The connection to the Loki series and He Who Remains version of Kang is that he's at the end of the timeline, implying that eventually all the Celestials will die at some point in the future of the MCU. Because here, in this place where he is literally the last remaining living being in the universe. That's why he's called He Who Remains. He and his citadel at the end of time here on this rock are the only things that remain in the main MCU universe. So after Cersei shows up and starts talking about the concept of apex predators in the ecosystem, Dane Whitman leaves and finds Sprite here where this deleted scene picks up. At this point in the timeline, he hasn't learned anything about the Eternals yet, so he believes the story that Sprite and Cersei have been telling everyone, that she's her niece, and they've been acting like she's her guardian, because at least till the end of the movie, she had never aged, so they had to create this fake backstory that they told everyone everywhere they moved across time. If it wasn't clear too, at the end of the movie, Cersei uses the last of the extra Unimind energy that they gained from Tiamat to transform her into a more humanoid form. Cersei and the Eternals were already fairly powerful in their own right, they had a certain amount of cosmic energy. But it took the extra power-up of the Unimind, where she basically took the power of all of them combined in the new celestial power coming from Tiamat, like a massive battery of cosmic energy, and took all that and used most of the energy to transform him into a stone celestial. Like he's fully stone now, but also then used a little bit of that to change Sprite into a human. But Sprite is still technically an eternal. She has her powers at the end of the movie. Cersei just made it so that she can age and die like humans. That's also the easy way they explain child actor Liam McHugh being way older looking. Way older the next time they bring Eternals characters back in a future MCU movie. In this deleted scene, the reason she's so hostile towards Kit Harington's Dane Whitman Black Knight character, especially at the beginning of the movie too, isn't because she hated him. It's more about her being mad at Cersei for getting involved with a human and all the complications that it might cause for them. And she was also kind of jealous of Cersei for a bunch of different reasons. Like she resented her, 1, because she looked like an adult and therefore was capable of having romantic relationships with other adults, and 2, because Sprite had been in love with Ikaris this whole time for thousands of years, but Ikaris had been in love with Cersei. So they had this weird love quadrangle thing going on with Cersei, the Black Knight, Ikaris, and Sprite. If you didn't pick up on that during the movie, that's why at the end of the movie, Sprite sided with Ikaris, even though it was pretty clear that he was not interested in her romantically. Like there was never going to be anything between the two of them, even if they'd been successful at the end of the film and Tiamat had emerged, destroying the Earth. But during this deleted scene, you can see Sprite just messing with the Black Knight, basically giving away all the Eternals and Celestial secrets in not-so-subtle ways. Like she really wants him to go away. Just leave Cersei. That's why she's trying to freak him out with all these facts. Like later in the movie, she had another version of this scene where she's referencing Cersei's previous relationship with Ikaris. It implies that some of what Cersei has told him about Ikaris was a total lie. Like in this scene, she very literally says, "Oh, he can fly," even though Kit Harington's Black Knight is listening to her, taking it more metaphorically like, "Oh, he's a pilot." But that was all meant to set up the big deviance reveal where Ikaris does show up to help them, and we get our big Game of Thrones reunion between Jon Snow and Robb Stark. "Next time I see you, you'll be all in black. It was always my color." It's funny how that worked out.
Next time I see you, you'll be all in black.
It was always my color.
Next time they did see each other, he was the Black Knight, so he was technically dressed in black. And for reference, the writers were very clear at the end of the movie. Ikaris did die when he flew into the sun. He flew too close to the sun, literally fulfilling the Greek legend of Icarus, which we learned was a story fabricated by Sprite when the Eternals lived in ancient Greece. Sprite also kind of tells Dane Whitman that as they're going around, and she's pointing out the historical inconsistencies in the museum. Like, all those things that you know about? That came from me. Pretty much all the Greek legends were created by Sprite. Even though there is a version of Zeus the god in the MCU, we're actually going to meet him in Thor, Love and Thunder. He'll be played by Russell Crowe. He's not as powerful as Odin, but he's still very powerful. And Marvel does have versions of actual Greek gods. That's where the Hercules character comes from. For those of you that want to see MCU Hercules show up in the movies at some point, the only thing she's really wrong about here when she's talking to him is the idea that gods don't exist. Because they do exist. We know about Odin, Thor, Hela. They are actual gods in the MCU. Are you Thor, the god of hammers? The reason why I think they had this line in the movie, though, was to foreshadow the big twist with the truth of the Celestials. Like the Eternals start the movie worshipping the Celestials and Arisham as gods, but we find out that all the Celestials are just extremely powerful cosmic beings that are themselves part of a larger system. Like the idea that they themselves were created by eternity, the living embodiment of the multiverse. So the whole idea in this deleted scene in the beginning of the film is that they're trying to set up the concept that there's always a bigger fish out there. When she starts to freak out here, though, that's when the earthquake started happening right at the beginning of the film in the middle of Cersei's lecture about apex predators, setting up the big Tiamat Celestials reveal about the Emergence. And I know there are a lot of questions about what's happening with Kit Harington's Black Knight character next, but Kit Harington's character implies that throughout the whole movie, like this whole time that he's been going out with Cersei, dating her, he's known about the Ebony Blade, the curse of his family, the lineage of the Black Knight, and he just kept it secret from her the same way that she kept her secrets of the Eternals from him. There's a scene at the end of the movie where he's about to tell her his secret, like, you know, I've had this very complicated family history, just as Arisham the judge shows up and takes all the Eternals back to the World Forge where he created them. But the funny thing is that the Eternals already knew all about the Ebony Blade and the Black Knight way before this. Cersei herself, at the beginning of the film, gave Dane Whitman his family's ancestral ring as a gift. She lied about finding it on eBay when really she probably just kept it over the centuries. The Eternals lived in Camelot, so in the MCU, Camelot, King Arthur, all those characters like Merlin were real people. Merlin was probably the sorcerer supreme of his era. Merlin created the Ebony Blade. That's why when they go back to the Domo, their ship, and they have all those artifacts all over the place, the trophies that they've collected along the years. Thena sees a sword and Sprite asks, "Is that the ebony blade?" She says, "No, that's Excalibur," as in the actual mythological Excalibur. So if it wasn't clear, Cersei and the Eternals knew the original Sir Percy Black Knight character because they lived in Camelot when all that was going down. During the fall of Camelot, the Sir Percy Black Knight is just Dane Whitman's ancestor. So they know all about the curse of the ebony blade, and obviously, Marvel will cover all that history, the backstory. We'll learn more about the original Black Knight when we see Kit Harington show up next, actually wielding the blade in the full Black Knight armor. The voice speaking to him in the post-credits scene was actually Mahershala Ali's Blade character. It's the first scene ever in the MCU with the brand new Blade. So they're implying that the Black Knight will be in the new Blade movie, like Black Knight, Vampire Hunter, which I think makes sense. He's a very dark, very magic-based character, so he fits well in more supernatural stories. As we continue to explore the rich lore of Eternals, it's clear that there's still much to discover. This deleted scene offers valuable insights into the characters and their relationships, enhancing our understanding of the movie's complex narrative. Thank you for sticking with us, Legends. Your support means the world to us. Stay legendary, and we'll see you in the next video.